Sure. So today we've got a match for you here between Ryooo and OpiWrites. In the first round, we saw Ryooo take out Hunu 7-1, and OpiWrites took out Thabsies 7-3. Now they're going to be facing off here today in the quarterfinals. Let's take a look at the picks and bans here. So for our first ban, we have OpiWrites banning Library. Meanwhile, Ryooo is going to be banning Redwoods. I think Ryooo was actually the winner of the Library tournament when we held that on one weekend, so it makes sense why Opie would ban that. And Ryooo banning Redwoods also makes sense. Redwoods is a venue that has really divided a lot of people. It can be pretty hard to play from the sniper side, but Opie is one of the few people who is vocally comfortable with it and would certainly have picked Redwoods if Ryooo did not ban it.
Yeah, Opie seems like the type of player who's more comfortable with the occlusion venues than other people are. You know, a big fan, very vocal fan of Ballroom, which is one of the more occlusion heavy maps.
And then for the restrictions, we have Opie restricting Aquarium and Ryooo restricting High Rise. The Aquarium restrict also something that is pretty typical from Opie nowadays. He had a few opponents in his most recent competitive league season who sort of abused the shark to do some very clever tricks against him. And seemingly he has not recovered from it, as it has been a common ban or restrict from him ever since.
Yeah, there's a little bit of PTSD involved in that pick, I think. That restriction. Aquarium is definitely a venue that has specialists, I think, in this game. And if you're not one of those people who has a very clear plan about how to go about Aquarium, then it's better to not deal with it as a double pick, I think.
And then for our doubled picks here, we have Opie doubling Ballroom and Ryooo doubling Moderne. Ballroom is Opie's favorite venue in the game. It is the venue that he is best at. And he is very much known for this. Now, the reason it's open for him to double, Ryooo wouldn't ban it because Ryooo is also a huge fan of Ballroom. And it's really the same for Moderne. Opie feels very, very confident about locking down Moderne as sniper as well. So both of these double picks are venues that these players are very, very comfortable with.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really fun to see. Not going to see any 3-5 picks here. Just I'm really excited to see some Moderne. We don't see that one too often doubled.
Yeah, and the single picks, Opie with Veranda and Ryooo with Courtyard. So we basically have a lot of bigger venues here, and we just have sort of a lot of standard venues. There's really none of the occlusion, none of the alternative play styles, nothing like that. It's just going to be some sort of bread and butter SpyParty, which both of these players are known for and are very, very good at.
Yeah, this is going to be a really exciting matchup. This is going to be a platinum rematch from our current season of SCL, and I think a lot of these round one matchups were kind of defined by having a favorite and an underdog, and I really don't feel like there's a clear favorite in this matchup. It's just two of our more highly skilled and experienced players going at it.
Yeah, and when you talk about Platinum Division, that's from the most recent SpyParty competitive league season. It was a five-person division. Ryooo and Opie were both in it. A lot of people felt before the season that, everyone in that division was basically equally skilled. However, when Ryooo and Opie played each other, Ryooo did get 2 wins. He won 7-4 and 7-5, but there's absolutely no reason to think that that's going to happen again. This set could definitely go to either player.
Yeah, I feel like that Opie underperformed just a little bit this last season, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a reversal of fortune here in this set.
All right. Well, with that, we have the players ready to start. And they are getting ready now for their first games here on Ballroom. So, what we can expect to see here, it's going to be OpiWrites spying first. Opie's playstyle on Ballroom, there are a few things we can say. The most important one is that he is a fan of the bug. We can definitely assume that the plan here is going to be flirt, contact, bug, and then one other mission. But he is known to sometimes spice things up with a rush, so be on the lookout for that as well. And it looks like we have our game loaded up here. So we have Opie playing as Red Dress, and we'll get started in three, two, one, playing it.
We're going to see a Purloin right away. A green Purloin at these windows. There's a lot going on in Chaos Time here, so it's unclear what Rio's going to be focusing on, and we'll see
Oh
if
my God, a
Purloin.
bug on the way past the ambassador there. We're heading over to the center statues. And like I said, Opie's
Yeah,
going for
there's a
the
low light.
rush. It's the Purloin, it's the bug. It's going to be 3 inspects, and it's going to be followed up with a swap almost certainly. Opie loves his rushes. 3 inspects done, no swap. Maybe he felt the laser come over to him and was worried that it was a highlight rather than a low light.
I think that it's going to be very unclear for Opie whether or not that's a highlight or a low light. That Purloin was quick, but it's not impossible to catch it. And if Ryo was watching it, then Opie would be in danger right now. However, it does not seem that Ryo caught the reject early on. And we can really do any mission here. We could do a contact, we could wait out flirt. It doesn't really matter, I don't think.
Yeah, and we have Morinda in chat asking, how did we get a low light? The reason we got a low light is because at the moment when Ryo noticed the Purloin going off, we were at statues. And since Ryo didn't see the reject and didn't think that anyone even had time to reject a Purloin like that, he assumed Red Dress has been at statues. She couldn't have Purloined, so she gets the low light.
Yeah, I think that Boots rejected this afterwards, so she might be a high suspect. She has a highlight. I didn't see who took the list, but I think that Boots is probably being suspected right now. She's really not doing anything, though, so I don't think she's going to get shot. I think that Opie's going to have plenty of time to finish missions here, assuming that he feels comfortable doing so.
Yeah, Boots is the one who took the list. She was at Windows. Toby offered to her, and she took it right there, right at the front window, right in view of the sniper. So she's probably a huge suspect. The thing is, if she doesn't finish missions, she's not going to be shot. So Opie is going to have to finish at some point. I was certain it was going to be with the swap, but it wasn't. But with a minute 20 left, one flirt here for 29% because we didn't even get close enough to her. We should be able to finish with the flirt. We would need to join her in conversation, which Opie is doing, but look how scared he is. He doesn't want to get close to her. He doesn't know he's a
Yeah.
low light.
Opie is playing with a lot of discretion here, I've noticed. I noticed that there was a bit of frustration. I don't know if that was because the ST went to bookshelf, but I could tell that Opie is definitely worried about finishing this 4th mission, even though he has nothing to worry about. But I think that's healthy respect for Ryo Sniper, who could have easily caught that Purloin early on.
Well, the only thing Opie has to worry about is the clock at 64%. Even if you get your best flirt, you only get 34 more with a white test, which would leave us at 98. In other words, if we don't hit a green on this flirt right now, we would have to very awkwardly walk away and come back. But we hit the green test, we're in mission win countdown, and there's absolutely no chance that a shot comes off from Ryo here. And Opie is about to discover in 2 seconds that he was a low light all along.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that we did very aggressively finish that flirt. We really didn't have time to wait on it, but that was a very aggressive flirt finish, which if we were a highlight, I have no idea if that would have been better than a contact or some other sort of mission, but it worked out in the end.
Yeah,
Because
I
we
mean,
got
I
that
was
green
sure
test.
this game was going to be over in 20 seconds. I was sure he was just going to swap that statue, but it took a little bit longer, but it doesn't make a huge difference. If you do a rush that finishes in 30 seconds, or if you do a rush that does 3 missions in 30 seconds and then flirts, your chance of winning is relatively similar in this case. And OP will therefore be picking up the first point here. And now it's going to be Rio's turn to spy next.
Whew, boy, I was not expecting to have to pick up the energy so quickly there. So we'll see if Ryo keeps that energy up or if he slows things down a little bit.
Let's get started here with Ryo playing as Queen in three, two, one, playing it.
Really don't have. Okay, we started with a drink in hand, so we can't do that Chaos Purloin that Opie did. We're just going to go in and start our flirt.
Yeah, Opie is someone who knows that a lot of spies like to start with flirt. In fact, I was just hearing him speak about this earlier on stream. He was saying that if there is someone who you know never does rushes, never likes to complete missions early, always plays slow games, then as the sniper, you're more able to take a look out for those early flirts because the people at the mission sites early, they're probably not going to be the spy getting things done. And I would say that's something that applies to Ryo for sure. Ryo likes to play really clean, slow games, going for the soft tells whenever possible. So it's possible that Opie was dedicating a bit of attention to tracking the flirt here. We'll have to see if we get in trouble for it.
Yeah, I do think that Ryo is someone who is capable of playing against type, though, as necessary, which may be necessary against Opie Sniper. You're
Well,
gonna
in this
step
case,
in.
we're hitting a green fingerprint here. The ambassador
Oh,
took, someone else took in between and smudged it, and now we get the print. So there shouldn't be any major suspicion on us for that. I'm also looking at Opie's sniper. How closely is he guarding this bug? I feel like
On the end of
sometimes he's
red.
leaving Queen behind the pillar and not really watching for it.
yeah, this laser flicked away to get lowlights right away, so there was an opportunity here for Ryo to take this bug, but he didn't. And I understand that because we got a highlight anyway for this.
Yeah, Ryo should have just taken the bug. I
Yeah,
mean, Opie
probably.
had his eyes off it for
Or
long
credited.
enough, and so he's just crediting Queen with a bug anyway. And if you're credited
Yeah.
with it, you might as well actually have it because we don't have that mission done now.
That's sort of the paradox, right? Is that it's understandable that Ryo didn't take that bug because he suspected that Opie might watch for it or suspect it. But the fact that Opie did anyway means that we should have just taken it. That's sort of the
Wow,
problem
and
with standing next to the ambassador.
yeah, Legorov in chat thinks that we weren't in range for the standing bug. I'm a
Hmm.
little bit surprised. It felt like we were very, very close to the ambassador. I would have
I,
thought it was in range for standing bug, but
I,
maybe
I,
not.
I definitely trust Legorov's experience on this one, but I'm surprised too. That felt like we were close enough. But I do trust Legorov on this one.
But either way, the fact that me as the caster thought that we were close enough explains why Opie definitely would have thought that Queen was close enough. Here's
On
the
the end of
real
red.
contact coming in, and the shot
Right away.
immediately.
Wow, we
Oh
didn't
my
even do
god,
anything.
Opie was so certain about a bug that never happened.
On the end of red.
Yeah,
Red.
this contact is interesting. I think the DA bailed on us on the first one when we didn't take that bug. So I wonder if Opie had more suspicion that this was a contact bug situation. I'm not clear on whether or not he was aware that the DA had just bailed and this was an attempt at a real contact. But that may have
Yeah,
made the second contact look very suspicious for Queen.
it may have. Opie is also someone who is usually pretty good at mission counting and basic. Oh wait, there was a cough on this banana bread.
Yeah,
There
that was a
was?
red.
I didn't see
Ah,
it.
the cough. I didn't
Oh,
even notice the
okay.
cough.
I didn't
Okay.
notice it either. I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear it either.
Huh. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, if there's a cough, then that makes it a lot easier. I do
Yeah.
sort of think that Queen was a high suspect, though, was probably being watched. And I do think that contact might have stood out a little bit regardless, although we probably would have been shot right there.
All right. Well, that's 2 points now for Opie. He's going to be heading into the third game here, playing as Taft. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Ambassador's right here. Don't blink. We don't go for the bug in chaos time, though, right now. It's interesting, after you complete a rush like you did as Opie, it's interesting. Do you keep the pressure on, or do you play a slower game here while Rio's maybe looking more for those who took a cheeky flirt there? We step right in, talk, and then leave.
I mean, I understand going for those cheeky flirts because a lot of snipers aren't going to be watching for them, but we did it right next to the ambassador, which I think makes it a lot more likely that the sniper would be looking there. A
Oh, never
shot?
mind.
A shot on Kane? Was that some sort of miss shot, or did we think that Kane bug? What happened here?
I don't know. That doesn't look like a missed shot. It looks like we went for Kane because we don't zoom in until Kane's in front of Taft, but I don't I don't understand what Kane got shot for though. So that doesn't make sense. I wonder if we
It would
did see
have
that.
to be it would have to be a phantom swap.
That's interesting. I'm not sure what happened there.
It's the only thing because I mean, if we look at it, Kane didn't really get close to the ambassador. You could think
Oh,
that Kane maybe did like a reverse drive-by as the ambassador was passing, but he's clearly in the middle
Three
of the
uh
statue animation.
327, he bumps into Amba in time of chaos, and it could be perceived that he did a cane side bug right at 326.
oh yeah, I see that
Yeah.
now. It does look Yeah, the way the bumping works, like Kane. If I were Kane, I would not try that bug because it would be too like you're crossing, perpendicular here and not perpendicular. I don't know what the word for that is, but you're going in different directions, and usually those bugs don't take unless you get a favorable bump, and we do here. So, but that does definitely look like a Kane bug. I can see that.
Yeah, even then, though, that's a bug. It's one inspect. I find it very hard to believe that that would be enough of a reason to take a shot without even waiting for the contact, and also knowing that Kane couldn't have done flirt. So my guess is on Phantom Swap, but at least we have thoroughly analyzed all the potential reasons. And either way, it means that Opie is now up 3-0 in a total reversal of how those past sets between these two have gone. And we're going to have Ryooo now playing as Bling Twin in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Oh, Queen almost looked like she was coming to us, but instead she went to her one true love over at the green bookcase.
She really slammed herself in to get there too. I think since this most recent patch, there's bookcase bookcases have a little bit less. You can have a little bit less elbow room when you walk into them, so that's not a spy-like thing to do necessarily. But
Yeah, I think someone
it's
discovered that
unlucky.
AIs would never get too close to the bookshelf, so it was recently patched to make sure
Hmm.
that they're able to go all the way right there up to the books. We're hanging out near the ambassador here. The way I see this is that we're hoping the ambassador leaves so that we can get the briefcase. Fingerprints are sort of a reliable thing for Ryooo, and especially when he's down, it's possible that he's just sort of going back to those tried and true habits, going for a fingerprint game here.
Here's an interesting thing. We did interrupt the ambassador, which could make him leave automatically, but he did not decide to do that. But I think that's a good idea to interrupt the emba if you want them to leave, just because that gives you that chance. Oh, we take the white
Oh,
purloin here. I think it might be seen.
it doesn't look like Opie was particularly looking for it, but he eventually slowly finds his way over
Yeah,
to
actually,
Toby
he's a
and
little
zooms
bit late.
in.
He's a little bit late, and we're not going to get a low light since we're nearby and we have a drink. Uh,
Wow. He doesn't
oh,
know
it's
though
not true
which
about this.
direction Toby was coming from. He highlighted the conversation over there with General, Seek, and Boots. Not General, because General was the one being offered to when he noticed it was gone, but he thinks Toby was coming from the right when Toby was actually coming from the left, right near the ambassador, too. Usually a spy won't purloin near the ambassador, but we did, and it's completely worked.
Yeah, General here. Ooh, General has a briefcase and a drink here. I always thought kind of went into a buggy position, but I don't know about that. Yeah, the purloin here. I kind of thought that the purloin timing was a bit odd since we were sort of out in the open and it didn't really look like anyone else could have done it. But sometimes taking a purloin at a surprising time, the sniper just isn't watching for it, and I think that might have played to our advantage here as Ryo.
Yeah, now here's the thing. Ryooo doesn't realize that Seek and Boots are the people that Opie thinks could have done the purloin, but they're right here with us. The double agent came to their conversation. Ryooo might think there's another suspect for the purloin because he didn't take that contact. I'm very, very
Yeah.
surprised. That
Oh.
contact could have led him to a victory, especially if Boots or Seek went to statues.
I think it would have been a very interesting idea to take a contact with a few too many people outside of conversation because that would look like a mission finish for Secret Boots potentially. If that contact looks like it's rushed, as in, I want to get this now and finish missions, that could have possibly induced a shot, but we didn't take it, and now this is not a contact opportunity at all.
No, and we should have maybe gone for some sort of frame. We're not going to be able to finish missions.
No,
We're doing
this
a
doesn't work.
contact here, but the double agent's not in the conversation. She's next to it with the briefcase. Opie will definitely see that. Opie knows that Boots and Seek didn't get a contact there. And Opie's just going to be locking down this party now. Another contact. Now it's real for Boots and Seek, but they haven't moved the entire game since the Purloin, so there's
I don't
no
think a shot's
reason
going
to
to
shoot
come.
them.
I think that we might have gotten, I don't know for sure, we might have gotten a safe shot if we took that contact earlier. But I think that second contact there that we had to take after the fake one really doesn't seem like Secret Boots finishing. They haven't moved, and they have no reason to have done a fake and then a real there, really. I just don't think that was a good plan. I think that Ryooo just got, my sense is that Ryooo got a little bit concerned about that white purloin and played it too slow here when he wasn't actually as much of a suspect as he thought.
I agree. I mean, I think he went back to this conversation to set up for a reverse drive-by. That's why he was back there before the double agent came back to it. Maybe if he got the bug, something would have panned out. But even then, he couldn't have finished the flirt. He couldn't have done another mission. It's just a case where I think if you've done a white purloin like that, there's only two options. Either the sniper saw it, in which case you're dead no matter what you do, or they didn't see it, in which case you can finish. So you may as well go and try to finish because whether or not you get shot won't have to do with the finishing. It'll just be the moment of the purloin that already passed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think the best thing to do is just to play it cool because either you're highly suspected for the purloin and you're probably not going to be able to get away with 3 more missions there, or you're not that suspected for the purloin and you should just continue playing Spy Party as normal. Unless you could also try to frame if you think that someone else might be a high suspect. But when you wipe purloin, it's sort of hard to know. So you should probably just continue to play your game and
Yeah, exactly.
not get too scared there.
Well, speaking of continuing to play without getting scared, Ryo is going to have to be moving on to his doubled pick now, down 0-4. It'll be very hard to bring that back up to a tie against Opie here, especially if he's feeling tilted at all about the results so far. But we'll see how it goes. We have Opie here playing as Green Dress in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Take an accidental low light there, but I think that was just a low light on the ambassador there. That's not a concern. We take that cheeky flirt again.
Yeah, it's a cheeky flirt, but we didn't even get right next to the seduction target, so it's only for 31%. I mean, if you're doing cheeky, at least get closer. Unless maybe your thought, whoa, what? Why are we low? Please tell, did Ryo just lowlight Opie for doing early inspects because Opie is vocally known for disliking early inspects?
I don't know. That seems a bit questionable to me, considering Opie did win a game with early inspects earlier. That's a
That is
bit
true.
surprising. I even if someone is vocally against doing that, they also know that they're vocally against doing that, so you should be concerned that they might be able to prey on that just based on their reputation.
Yeah, a good spy will always be able to switch things up at any time. I mean, personally, I don't like going to early inspects, but
No,
occasionally, if
neither
the
do I.
AI seems to be bringing me there, I say, all right, this will be the one game I do it, just so that you can't identify the pattern.
Yeah, same. It just feels like Opie has a really good read on Ryo right now. Like his spy play is just oh wow, we take the direct purloin here?
Wow, I don't even know
What?
who we're framing with this, but the fact that we're a low light, I mean, is Ryo going to
Does
bring it
Opie
back up
know
now?
that we're lowlit? Does Opie does Opie live this much in Ryo's head that he knows he's lowlit? That's insane. That's such a ballsy purloin.
Yeah, and here's the thing. If you're Ryo, I think
Banana
Irish
bread.
taking the list should be enough to bring her back up to a neutral. There's the
Hmm.
banana bread now. The conversation's looking pretty full, but I'm noticing a lot of shuffling around from those two SDAs. So we might be the only conversation with Real. But either way, not a lot of suspects ruled out from that, and the low light stays. And what I was going to say was, if you've taken lowlights after banana bread, you know that they might be hard lowlights. You don't want to bring them back up. But if you've taken behavioral lowlights before a banana bread and one of them takes the guest list, I feel like that's enough of a reason to at least bring them back up to neutral.
Yeah. I saw a little bit of a frustrated shake from Ryo here on Sniper. I'm not sure if he suspected that Sari may have bugged after the contact, or could have possibly. Uh, I'm not sure who Ryo's suspects right now. We have a couple of highlights.
Banana bread.
I'm really not sure how on top of the list being taken by Green Dress he even was in the first place.
No, another banana bread.
Ooh.
Boots is a highlight, and she immediately walks away in the aftermath of it.
Yeah, here comes the sorry highlight too, because she also had Real, and I think maybe having some bug credit for her right now.
Yeah, I mean, Ryo seems pretty lost at this point. The one who we pretended delegated to us was Queen, but she's a lowlight at this point. It's Boots, Wheels, Sorry, and Smallman. They have 45 seconds to go do something.
It doesn't
Looks like
matter.
in to shoot someone? No, the sniper movement is all over the place, but here we go. We're finishing over here with the
Yeah,
inspects
we're not
ourselves.
gonna get shot. We're
No
fine.
chance.
Nah. And this is another thing you should probably be concerned about is if you do take a behavioral low light on your first statue, if someone goes to statues, you take a low light for that. You should probably still be watching to see if they go back to statues, and you should bring them back up. But in this case, we needed a shooter, and I really think that Ryooo could have very easily shot Green Chest if he remembered that she took the list. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
another win for Opie, who just seems to have a really good read on Ryoo's sniper.
just not watching those lowlights. And if you look at, the highlights remaining, sorry, Wheels, Smallman, over in the last 40 seconds, they were just in conversation. There was no real risk of them finishing. Boots was back at the bar when the list was already gone. So you can afford
Mhm.
to spend a little bit of time looking at your lowlights there because the spy, it's very, very often that a spy is just going to go finish with inspects at 40 seconds. So if you have the party that narrowed down and nothing else to watch, I think you can look at your lowlights there. But Opie is now up 5-0. It's going to be Ryooo spying here as queen, hoping to get on the board in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, we're gonna see if what Ryooo could do to change the story of this set. This is about the time where I personally would start getting frustrated and just go for a rush. And we are doing early inspects here, which is interesting.
Yeah, I felt the same exact thing. I
Ooh.
thought Ryooo might just swap that statue. There is a bug opportunity here if Opie doesn't have the right angle for it. But
Wow,
Ryooo
really,
doesn't go for it.
we really took a path there that was questionable, but we didn't go for the bug, and I find that a little bit concerning. I feel like Queen is really like kind of the top suspect right now.
Yeah, stop me if you've heard this before, but we're playing as Queen and we've been highlit for a bug that we didn't take but is credited anyway.
Yeah, that's a little bit familiar, right? And if I were Ryu, I would not want to repeat that game because it didn't go well.
Well, that game did end with a cough. We don't technically know how it would have ended
That's
without
true.
it,
That
but
is fair.
I'm sure Ryooo looked at the replay and saw that he got highlit for that bug, and it's just going to be the same thing here. The only good news is if you think you're already highlighted for a bug, maybe you'll be watched a little bit less when you're in range of the Amba later, but I
That
don't know. It
isn't
just doesn't feel
that
like a
isn't
great
much of a
situation.
yeah. The only advantage we could have gotten there is if we think that Opie was watching that bug for sure, and if spies don't like to path by the ambassador if they're not taking a bug, but that's a difficult. I don't know. That's a really hard read to make there.
The thing is, Opie didn't have the angle to be certain that no bug
Yeah,
happened. If the
that's the
ambassador's at
problem.
that blue bookcase, it's a very common bugging spot, but you need your laser at a little bit of an angle if you're going to see it, and Opie didn't have that angle. Meanwhile, the list has been taken by
Banana bread.
Smallman. Smallman is one of the SDAs. We're
Yeah,
doing a fake banana bread now, which is very strange to do that when Smallman is not even in conversation. Ryooo doesn't know he's an SDA. Ryooo should want Smallman in there.
yeah, and unfortunately, we do have the other SDA in our conversation, so we're not going to lose any heat on this fake. It's gonna, yeah. I don't know who this is going to create heat on, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not sure at all. There could be that someone else was next to Smallman before he went off, and that's who Ryooo is trying to frame. I would have to go take a look at it.
Yeah, I'm not very good at purloins on modern, so even when casting, I tend to miss this stuff.
Oh, I see. Boots is the other person who was next to Smallman in
Okay.
conversation when we sent off the delegate to him. So I'm going to assume that
Oh,
Ryooo is trying to frame Boots.
Rio wanted to finish off this flirt, and she canceled at the very last second as we were beginning this action test. That's awful. We're
That
gonna
is
have to chase her to
unfortunate.
finish this. Fortunately, we don't need a very. We can get a far flirt here, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, and so Boots was actually in conversation with the real double agent when we did it. So I think that's who Ryooo is trying to frame here. Hopefully Opie is onto it, and Boots
Ooh,
is
she's going for
going
the
for the
briefcase.
briefcase.
She's moving around a lot right now, which could get her shot. And we kind of need that because I think Ryo is going to have a tough path to finishing here. We're definitely a suspect, and we need to get 2 more missions done, and one of those needs to be a second inspect. I really don't like Ryo's position here, and it looked like Opie is holding this shot on Boots.
Yeah, if there's no shot coming off on Boots, I think now is when you just go for the inspect swap. I'm not saying an inspect swap would work, but I'm just saying it's probably the highest EV play here. Ryo
Yeah,
agrees with me
and
going in for the
I
inspects
think
here.
Opie's just going to shoot Ryo here. From Opie's perspective, Ryo has contact, so we might not even need to swap here. We might just get shot.
Yeah, he doesn't go for
Oh,
it until the swap
yeah,
comes
that
off,
hurts.
but
Yeah,
he's ready for it. Shot comes off, and Opie is now up 6-0. I
holy
kind of just want
moly.
to go back at the replay here and see if Boots had another print at any point, if Opie was able to actually hold on her, even though that could have been a print finish.
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
But I'm not seeing too much else from Boots here. Oh, no. Actually, if you go back to about 320, Boots actually picks up the briefcase from the blue bookcase and she returns it to the ambassador. So that briefcase there at the end would actually have been her second fingerprint as far as
It
Opie knew, and he
does,
was
does,
still able to hold the shot.
does it have fingerprints on it, though? It might be smudged because it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, it doesn't have a print on it anymore, actually.
Oh, it's totally
It
gone.
is completely gone, yeah. Both Salmon and Twin pick it up, I think.
Well, it's still an
So that,
impressive hold to be that sure that it's not, a difficult. A briefcase in the
yeah,
middle of nowhere probably
absolutely.
isn't fresh, but it could have been a difficult, and she had the real BB. She was next to the person who took the list. Very good hold either way.
Yeah, it's a good hold by Opie. I don't know if he maybe possibly also had more suspicion on Queen. I think that was a really good Purloin attempt. Like the delegate was really good, but the fact that it came after an inspect and a possible bug path may have put Opie in a pretty comfortable position to mission count here.
All right,
No,
we are.
actually, now that I say that, he should have shot if that's the contact, if that was true, but never mind.
Yeah. So we're going to be seeing Opie here spying again, going for that 7th point. And that is match point. This is a best of 12, right?
I
Correct.
believe it
First to
is.
7 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is match point. Ryo hasn't gotten a single point on the board and is fighting for his tournament life here. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I feel like we've had a lot of games where Boots is one of the high suspects here, so why not play her, I guess? Lean into that reverse psychology. We
And
think,
it's a
oh
book
yeah,
cheese.
book
We're
cheese, book
grabbing
cheese.
that blue book and
I,
it's going immediately into green.
this is a really good time to do it. I was going to note that there are a lot of guests very spread out on the venue right now. Almost every mission site is being visited by someone, and there's a lot to track at that moment. And I do not think that we were being watched. So I think that book cheese is clean, and that's a great start for Opie.
Yeah, the ambassador was over at the red shelf, but they weren't really in any danger, so Ryo didn't need to be looking for it. And at this point, Opie is basically playing modern any 3 of 7. He's gonna flirt, he's gonna contact, and then all he needs is just the inspects or the fingerprints. And if Ryo doesn't have any suspicion of the microfilm, which I'm certain he doesn't, there just won't be any reason to take the shot.
Yeah, once again, I feel like Opie is just living rent-free in Rio's head. Like, he just seems to know exactly what he's not going to be watched for at any given moment. And that book cheese was just perfectly timed.
Yep, contact coming off now. A lot of very full conversations. Ryo gets a nice handful of lowlights, but it's not going to be enough.
No, we don't have our flirt started yet, though. And while we do have a fair bit of time on Modern 4 of 8, we are going to need to get this started pretty soon. So we're going to see how much Opie wants to kill time here with Smallman. No, not very much.
Well, we do need to start getting that flirt. 2.5 minutes should be
Oh,
okay. We went to the bar hoping that that's
yeah.
where Irish was going, but she wasn't. She was going for the briefcase.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Because that means we're going to have to wait quite a while to see where she lands. Probably going to sip this drink and then try to predict where she goes next. And it looks like she's
Yeah,
going
we
to go to
did.
books. Yeah, Opie hates it.
Oh, no. We're still fine. There's still over 2 minutes to get the flirt. Might want to start going to set up a soft tell, though, I think, unless you plan to purloin. I don't think we do, though. I think we took the delegate purloin option just because there's no reason not to take it. It doesn't leave a tell just to
Mhm.
take the option. We can fire it off if we want to. And we are actually going to fire it off.
Yeah.
We're firing it off to Duke here, who is an SDA. So we've decided that rather than doing inspects or fingerprints, we're actually going to do a purloin and hope that Ryooo won't have enough to narrow it down and take a shot.
Yeah, I don't know if this is going to work out. We've been moving around a lot, and I think that Ryooo may know that we were at bar. We were going back to bar to kind of throw off a little bit of that suspicion. See, we're at the bar now. We couldn't have been there before. We don't even have a drink.
Well, we're at the bar to flirt with our seduction target, but it
That
does
too.
also work for that purpose. It's sort of a known move at this point, though. I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of spies like to go to the bar right after the list is taken to like fish for that low light. We're not getting it, but with a green flirt, we will just need one more. There's Irish the low light doing
Finishing
another
prints.
fingerprint.
Sure, why not? Well, we're really that path was. I don't think
Oh,
Ryooo knows what's going on though. That's a frustrated shake from Ryooo.
but
Oh,
safety off low light onto sorry at the bar? What?
wow. I don't know. I think that Ryooo is a little bit flustered right now, shall we say. That's completely understandable in this situation.
Well, Irish came to us in that conversation, and then she left. She went all the way over there to the windows on the left. We are sort of chasing. We won't make it to the windows before she gets there, though, but it does at least put us in her general vicinity. We will need to flirt, though, in the next 16
Classic.
seconds. We're just turning around and chasing her. She's going back to the
The
bar here, and
bar.
we
We
are going to
shall
be able to
stay
get
here.
that flirt. It's going to be a few seconds of overtime, though, which I don't think means Opie will get shot. I do think, though, that it'll mean that Ryooo will be very, very, very confused, but probably not going to be a shot in the next 3 seconds. He won't even be able to register it in
No,
time. And there it
and
is.
that's a
Opie
7-0 sweep.
7-0. Wow, I was not expecting a sweep from this, especially when you remember that Ryooo won the previous two matchups.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And yeah, it really just seems like Opie had just the perfect game plan on each spy game here, and Ryooo was just somehow not looking at what Opie was doing. Especially at the beginning of these games, Opie got a lot of early progress done.
All right, well, it looks like we do have the players here with us ready for an interview. Screw, would you like to bring Ryooo in here?
Yeah, let's bring Ryu in and see, get something from him. I'll drag him down.
Uh, hello?
Ryu, I dragged you in.
Hi, Ryooo.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, Ryooo, tough set.
Yeah,
Can you hear me again? Yeah?
yeah, we can hear you. I think we were definitely surprised to see how that went down there. I feel like you had some pretty good plays throughout that. The scoreline is just a little surprising to see.
It was just a day off, honestly. I just saw nothing, to be clear. And more type of games were played, and then I was just imagine some stuff in my head, and it was going worse. So it was a bad day. And as spy, I just had no idea what to do to win against Sophie.
OP is definitely a very tough sniper. No one expects to win spy games against OP, so I wouldn't feel too bad about those.
Yeah.
I am
And
curious. Oh, sorry. Go
yeah,
on.
good.
I'm
Uh,
curious about the first modern game where you low light Opie for going to statues. Was that a behavioral low light, like expecting Opie
yeah,
not to go to early statues?
exactly. And I did the same on the very first game of the set on Ballroom.
That's right.
That was a mistake, obviously.
Uh,
And
um,
yeah, I was expecting that Hopi won't won't go at statues early game, and it was just a gamble because I saw that I was not in a good day, so I tried greedy low lights like that, but didn't work.
That is understandable. It's sort of like, in a situation where a sniper feels like they're behind, they might be more likely to take risky lowlights for a fake BB. So I felt a similar thing might be happening. In game 3 of Ballroom, we saw a miss shot onto Kane, which we were a little bit confused about. I was wondering if you
It
could
was,
let us know
yeah,
what was going through your mind
it was
there.
a combo like a Phantom Bug and then Phantom Swap. Uh,
Okay.
I,
Okay.
I remember 2-1-3, and no, it was 3-1-3. So, and yeah, at the very beginning with a bounce with the pearls, if I recall correctly, and the Amba, I thought that might be a bug, and then I Phantom Swap. So okay, he's rushing. I should in, but not at all.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's understandable. I don't think any of this is, you know, particularly shameful or anything. You made some choices behaviorally. It's perfectly understandable to think that, OP wouldn't go do those early inspects. That was a few sniper games, another one with a phantom swap. So I understand what happened here, and I don't.
Yeah,
I
the
think it
score
could happen to anyone.
the score is pretty rough, but honestly, I don't care about the score because I knew it was gonna be a very tough match, and now I can just watch the other match without any pressure. And I know I have more match incoming in post SCL season, so everything's gonna be fine.
Yep.
Yeah,
Good
and
luck
yours.
and all
Yeah.
that.
What do you have coming up next? Because you basically don't have to. Oh, right, you don't have to do the TOP, right? So you're set.
No, I just played Punoob to know if I get promoted to Diamond. I don't know if anybody know the score, so I'm keeping it secret for now. And I'm going to play Lady Bear in the first match of the championship bracket. I mean, from the Masters. No, to know
Oh,
who will be the SCL champion. So I have
nice.
to play
Well, if you're
first
still in the
against.
running for SCL champion, that's good.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else have any questions?
Nope, I think we're good. Good job, Ryu. Let's switch over to Opie and get some words from him.
All right.
Welcome, Opie.
Hi there. How's it going?
Good. Me
Good. How
too.
are you doing?
Congratulations on the win.
Yeah, thanks. Honestly, I don't know. I didn't really expect this score line. For sure. Ryo is a very tough opponent, and it just seemed like he had a bit of a bad day. So
Yeah. So something I noticed from you, your spy games were all sort of different. You were switching things up a lot. On the first ballroom game, we saw a rush from you. The second ballroom game, we don't know what was going to happen because Kane got chopped for, a phantom swap pretty early. But it was
Mhm.
one rush on ballroom, and then modern. Well, it was a rush, sort of a rush on ballroom. You waited a long time to finish all those flirts. And then you switched it up on Modern. It was a little bit slower, going for the inspect finish at the end. Were you purposefully trying to sort of switch up how you play by switching up the tempo, doing things like early inspects, things like that?
I mean, well, it's always a good idea to switch up what kind of play you're doing. And as far as like the first game goes, Toby came behind me, Kane was nearby, the ambassador wasn't like completely safe. So there were like things going on in the party, and I was like, look, I hit a green purloin here, I can go for a rush. Then I was walking away. It's like ambassador. Oh, I can take this nice little bug on the way through, then go into stat. Like it just kind of lined up pretty well, and I'm very much one to take that kind of opportunity. Um, and then after that, it is always just a good idea to just maybe slow it down. Different kind of tempos, always very good in a set because you'll notice that you'll get sometimes like civ shots like the second ballroom game, which for Rio Sniper, which definitely wasn't like I didn't cause that, right? Phantom swaps are, happen to everybody, right?
Oh,
But I think he mentioned in his interview that, oh, he's rushing, right? I need to end the game. And I don't think you're really going to get that kind of reaction if I hadn't rushed the first game.
Makes
yeah,
sense.
that's absolutely
Did
true.
you feel like you were a low light or a highlight in that very first ballroom game after the green purloin when you were at the center inspects?
So I felt like there was a pretty good odds that I'd pick up a low light after the purloin was noticed. But I did play it until the end of the game where I didn't really have any other choice. I sort of played it as if I was still a suspect just in case. The one that I was a bit confused on while I was playing was actually the game I got low light on Modern.
Yeah.
Because so one of the big decisions that people make early on in the modern game is, especially if I know that they're highlighting for single inspect statue visits, which Rio normally does, is that do they highlight for bar or do they highlight for statues, right? That's one of the big decisions, and people will sometimes not highlight for their statues like normal and instead go for a bar if it's really particularly rushy. So I saw there was like this big group at bar, and I'm like, okay, Rio is pretty likely, I feel like, to make a decision to highlight for bar this game. So I went into the statues and kind of relied on the fact that it would be harder for him to memorize single inspect statues than it is for other people, because he usually uses the highlights for that. And then then I felt this laser go over me, and I was like, huh. I was a bit confused because I expected the highlights to be for bar, but I thought that actually was a highlight there.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, Rio actually took a low light there, expecting you not to do the early statues. But it sounds like you weren't really on. You didn't really think that you were low lit for that.
No, definitely not. I know that I profess to hate going to early side statues because it just picks up a highlight for the rest of the game that it's hard to get rid of, impossible to get rid of against some players, and you don't really want to play the rest of the game as a highlight. But in competitive play, I always do make sure to throw in the occasional game where I'm going to these side statues, particularly against people who do those side statue lights, because I can't allow exactly what Rio was just doing, right? Yeah, you can't allow them to see that you never go there early, and and just low light for that, right? You can't allow the habits to get too strong, is what I'm saying.
Was there any insight into your drafting, or was it mostly just kind of pick the comfort ones and ban the ones that you don't want to play?
As far as the drafting goes, I feel like Rio and I play pretty similar type venues. We're both very on the 4 of 8 side of things. We like those spy abled areas. So I knew that Ballroom would get through. I knew that he was going to ban Redwoods because he's been doing it all season in SCL. So mostly it was just about what do I want to pick for my second pick, and how do I want to, what do I want to take out of these first two things. And library is a pick that I'm definitely not uncomfortable with. It's just that Rio is very comfortable with it, and relatively speaking, it's sort of, I'd rather not have it on the table. All things to be fair. So, and then the restrict was just I don't really want to play Double Aquarium.
Sure. Great. Well, a great set overall. Definitely surprising. If anyone had asked me what I would predict the score to be, it definitely would not be a 7-0 either way. I think most people were probably expecting 7-5s or overtime games. So congratulations on picking up that win. I'm actually going to we'll take a look at the bracket. Let's get that reported and see where that brings us as far as the bracket is concerned.
Yeah, so with a win here against Rio, and this is a seeding upset slightly. Rio was the 4 seed, Opie was the 5 seed. So Opie's next opponent is going to be the winner of Lazy Bear versus Legorv, which is a set that we are going to be seeing tomorrow, I believe.
Oh boy, do I have to play Lazy Bear again
I believe so.
potentially? Oh no, Legorov, can I just play you instead, Legorov? Can you just win that set for me?
Is it that much of a prize to have to play Legorv?
I just don't want to play Lazy Bear again. Lazy Bear's spy
fair.
is probably the scariest spy in the competitive community currently. Like there's KCM, but currently he's not active. But
Mhm.
Lazy Bear, just to me, has one of the strongest spies. Is very active, but also, but it's just the decisions are very good, and he gets inside your head a lot as sniper. At least in my experience. So
So
late,
if you see any guest doing something that would be a bad spy play or an obvious spy play, you can just lowlight them, right?
no, I can't, because that's not how I work, Dells. I don't have that risk tolerance.